Alrighty. Hello, hello.
Hello.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here at Ice House Radio. We're really excited to have you, and we really appreciate your time. If you're not sure where you are, this is a discussion about the Chicago electronic music scene presented by Break and Enter. Yeah, this is a discussion about the Chicago electronic music scene presented by Break and Enter and Ice House Radio. Our goal for tonight's discussion is to explore the history and future of footwork and juke music with one of Chicago's most notable contributors. My name is Zio. You might know me as HYPERFEMME, and I am a DJ and former culture writer based here in Houston, Texas. And with me, I have DJ Earl.
Hello, hello, hello. Thank y'all.
DJ Earl is an electronic music producer and DJ from Chicago's South Side, a celebrated contributor to the city's footwork and juke music scenes, and a notable member of the Chicago TEKLIFE Music Collective. Let's give him a warm welcome.
Thank you.
So, DJ Earl, thank you for chatting with me today.
No
I really
problem, no
appreciate
problem.
your time.
Thank you for having me.
I feel like I can speak for everyone when I say we're all really excited to learn about more about footwork and juke history, about your contributions, your thoughts about the scene, about Chicago. But I definitely want to start with just kind of understanding where you're from, where you grew up. I'd love to hear more about your experiences growing up on Chicago's South Side and sort of what sorts of music and scenes, cultures you were sort of taking in at that time when you started listening to footwork and juke music.
Okay, so really my introduction to music itself was being in grammar school
Yeah.
and being in band. So like being classically trained, learning to read sheet music and play some instruments, and I ultimately became a drummer. And
Yeah.
I'm just really into the rhythms, and I just really love playing the drums. So that was my start. So getting, growing up in the south side of Chicago, juke music is very prevalent throughout the city, and a lot of the dance groups would practice outside during the summertime or like
Yeah.
on the weekends at park districts and stuff on the south side, because it wasn't any like dedicated spaces for the culture to come and practice, their dance and the music.
Yeah. Would you say it was mostly like party music then? So you'd have to like go out to the clubs, the teen clubs or the young adult clubs, and just to be able to hear it, or
Not
you just hear
even,
it on the street?
not even at the time.
Yeah.
Like juke and footwork music was still like very underground, and it was more so like still like a city culture thing that, like was kind of following up after house music and ghetto house, the
Yeah.
previous generation. So juke and footwork music got played at like the end of the party,
Yeah.
like after everything else got played.
That was like the closing finish, like what
Like
the
the
heads
closing
of
finish,
state,
yeah.
the state to listen
Like
to.
you might hear one footwork track and like maybe about 8 to 10 juke tracks
Yeah, at the parties.
at the parties, definitely.
Well, around that time, I know there was like somewhat of a battle scene kind of happening around that. Then, would you have to go to like the competitive side of footwork where they play the parties and battle and stuff like that to hear like an actual footwork track, like a full footwork mix?
So footwork, at first, as because it was the battle scene was going on before I was around. I'm like
Yeah.
second, third generation footwork. So from my understanding, from learning from the OGs, the people that did it before me, the spaces that they could footwork were like at the parties, like when they would play the music towards the end of the party. So pretty much like as soon as a track would come on, everybody who footwork would get right by the speakers, and they would just like form a circle and just open up the circle, and then everybody just get in there and just kind of go. There were a few dance teams across the city, and they all were pretty like communal, coming together, doing putting on like events like at like schools and stuff, like working with the youth. The youth has obviously been the most active part of the culture for sure, but
Yeah.
yeah, the spaces it got to exist in was mostly like at schools and like maybe like at the end of the party.
Got it. Okay. So you're growing up on that steady diet of footwork and juke. You're seeking it out at the parties, wherever you can find it. What were some other influences or like sounds you were taking in at the time? Were there any sort of other places you would go to look to for music, like the internet or your parents, aunts, uncles?
So I really couldn't escape music. So I had music at school, music at home. My father and my mother both had a lot of records, a lot of soul, funk, jazz, like almost every genre you could think of, but a lot of hip hop, like a lot of it. Like DJ Quick, you know, a lot of the West Coast stuff, Dr. Dre, you know, just
Yeah.
a very wide palette of music. And then I'm going to school as a child, learning to read sheet music and like playing like Beethoven, Four Seasons, and learning
Yeah.
about Miles Davis and learning about different instrumentation and how that works into actual music production. So I'm being classically trained in music as a kid, and then I'm coming home and I'm hearing soul, funk, jazz, and underground hip hop at the house.
Yeah. And like all that's getting mixed together.
Yeah,
for you
all
as a
this
kid,
getting
like, you're
mixed
just
in,
like,
and
yeah.
it didn't like production didn't come until later on, but music itself, like I latched onto it pretty quickly because everywhere I went, my family, at home, at school, it was my whole world was music.
Yeah. Would you say like growing up on that steady diet of different sounds and cultures has had like a really big impact on the way that
Definitely.
you produce, you DJ, even the samples you pick, like
Yes, it directly is connected in that type of way because I don't have a particular sound I like to just partake in as far as like my influences, the other genres of music that I incorporate into footwork. No, I like all genres of music.
yeah. When I guess what can you say was like your first moment? Like you're out, you're going to the clubs, to parties, you hear a footwork song for the first time, and you're like, this is it. Like I gotta know more about this. I gotta like
So I didn't come into the footwork scene as an adult. I came into it as a child.
Yeah.
So my first experiences with like the culture was going to skating rinks. Skating rinks were a big part of where people got to experience juke and footwork music like more than a few minutes
Yeah.
at like a party or whatever because I wasn't old enough to go to parties yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
skating rinks. It was like all ages up to like 16, like 7 to 11 with like a lot of adult supervision and a lot of different big skating rinks across the city and in the south suburbs as well.
Yeah. Do you remember what track it was or like the first time? I mean, I know you say you're pretty young, but like the first
Yes.
time you're just like, yeah, you do.
Yes, 'cause-
you just paint the scene for me. Like you're a kid, you're just like, yo, what is this?
So the first track that really caught my attention that made me want to like be a part of the community would be DJ Clint Bounce.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that still plays on the radio every single day. Still to this day, if you go to Chicago,
Yeah.
92.3, you know, any of the popular radio stations, like you're gonna hear Bounce, some ghetto house and some house before it, but Bounce is like the number one footwork track to me.
Yeah.
It was the beginning.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I know
Yeah,
you got
I'm gonna play a quick clip of Bounce.
Yeah, let's get into that. Yeah, so tell me a little bit more about that track before you transition to the next one. What really made it like a standout track for you?
The bass.
Yeah.
The bass and the melody, because I was like consuming so many forms of music, and I understood like like scales and chords and this and that. Hearing a melody like this that was so simple, but like so like intoxicating, and like everybody knew that melody. If you heard like the drums coming in, dun, 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 dun. That's like
Like
if
a
you can
calling
hum a
card,
song,
yeah.
like a calling card.
Like,
So
they get
the
ready.
melody is what really caught me because I love melodies. I love creating melodies and things of that nature. But the drums are hard hitting. The
Just a
snares,
classic.
I'm a drummer too, so I could hear the pockets that
Yeah.
some of the instruments and the snares were hitting on. So that was very interesting to me that someone could just. I'm like, how are they even making this? Because I don't know about production yet. I just know how to compose and read sheet music. So it
I
was
love
like
that.
very fascinating to me, like how they were making this music. I didn't know about drum machines, any of that.
I love that. Okay, so you did mention you were a drummer. I feel that since footwork, especially juke too, but footwork is such a percussive style of music. Do
Hmm.
you feel like you approach the music when you're producing, DJing in a different way because of your drumming background?
Absolutely. In
Like,
fact, most of the pioneers in the juke and footwork community come from a musical background of playing the drums in school, in church. A lot of us are drummers.
yeah, that definitely makes sense. I feel like, I mean, when I'm listening to like footwork and juke, obviously not being from Chicago, I love percussive like style of music. I love
Hmm.
drums. I just telling someone I wanted to be a drummer, and I love that you guys already are like building upon the experience you already had to make something that's so uniquely like different in the way that footwork is. I did not know so many like pioneers had a background in drumming.
I
Um,
found out when I got a little older.
yeah, I love that. So you started as a drummer. When did you first get your hands on a drum machine?
A drum machine,
Yeah,
deep, like almost deep into my career. Because
yeah.
even when I first started producing, I never actually was working with a drum machine. I was using a DAW called FL Studio,
Okay, I love that. So straight on the laptop.
straight on
Like
the
you're just drumming
laptop.
straight on. I
Well,
love
my
that.
desktop at first, my compact Presario. I remember my first
Oh,
computer.
period. Okay, we're getting into it. Oh my God, nostalgia. DJ Manny said the same thing that around this time when he started, he was just doing it straight to his laptop, and I can't even imagine. I feel like
He was around drum machines though. He just didn't want to use it.
I mean, I can understand. Like honestly, everyone's different, and every musician has their preference. I
Hmm.
just find it so fascinating that you're just literally on the desktop, like keying that shit in. Especially with drum machines being like pretty prevalent around that time too. Like
Hmm.
meeting, I love that footwork in itself. We're talking to so many footwork legends, pioneers. Like it's a very laptop, in a lot of ways, laptop desktop focused sound. Let's get
Yeah.
into another song. What's
All right,
what's
cool.
another one that
I
you
have
want
to
to share
say,
with us?
growing up, being a part of the juke and footwork community, at first I consumed more juke than footwork because that was what could get to the spaces quicker than the footwork tracks could, because the footwork tracks were like, I don't know, they weren't very like DJ friendly. So if you weren't like directly a part of the community, you probably didn't play footwork because it just didn't work in your set. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna play this next track is by a musician, very important musician, a part of the Chicago footwork community. His name is DJ PJ, and it's called We Eatin'.
We eatin' kia, we eatin' kia, we eatin' kia, we eatin' kia. DJ PJ, yeah, 1 2 1 2. You checking out the sounds of the DJ PJ. We eatin', 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 we eatin'.
Yeah. Again, that was DJ PJ, We Eatin'.
Yeah.
And that song right there was what brought me into what we call chants. It made me understand like how to be an artist in the like early on in the game, as far as like wanting to produce the music. But when I heard stuff like this, I'm like, oh, I get it. Like you could just say whatever you want. It just needs to be fun,
Yeah.
engage in some kind of way.
Yeah. I feel like chants are really important, or a really big element of like juke music and things like that. And I remember talking with DJ Manny the last time we did that, or the last time we did an interview together about sort of like the way that he produces his music and things like that. Do you find when you're like building a track out together and you want to say something on it that you workshop a lot of like whatever that chant would be? Or do you find like a lot of times like you're not even really even using chants in your music?
It depends day to day. Like, whatever I have going on, I may be going through something. So I may like make a track about smoking or something, or some kind of theme that, I have going on currently. Or if I'm happy, I may be like it's lit, or, it's very like soundtrack to our own life kind of thing. So
Yeah.
it's very like empowering to, put these chants and these different, terms into our music, and then just find a way to like make it like, palatable for everybody else.
I love that. So it's not always like focused on like whatever people are gonna hear in the party. For you, it's like straight up, just like whatever I got going on in that moment. Whatever
Exactly.
I feel like is the most
Honestly,
important.
for most artists, they probably just don't talk about that because, you know, just being a DJ, when you're making your tracks at home, you know, it's like very personal. So when you get out on the stage and you're playing it, their experience is just like the party. The atmosphere's already set for you to have fun. But when people are dealing with day to day and however they're feeling that day, they may put that energy into the music. And then when you receive it, you may receive it a different way.
Definitely. I think all the time, you know, an artist, whenever they're laying a track out, they definitely have an intention. But when it's getting played out for the crowd, it's like in their hands now and how they take it. I think there's just some stuff that's always going to be part of the human condition where you like hear it on the track and you're like, yeah, like I want to party, it's lit, like
Exactly.
going on. But like,
Exactly.
you know what I mean? I love that. Let's get one more track in. I definitely want to hear a little bit more of your influence.
This next track is what I would call like a footwork track. It's a little more wild on the production side. This track is by DJ Rock. He goes by the Crack Capone DJ Rock now. And the name of this track is called Panic. And yeah, it was very instrumental into like finding out about footwork, like the levels to it. Because I was introduced into like one part of it early on because I only could hear so many footwork tracks and there wasn't much access and I was still learning everything growing up. So this was like one of the tracks that I played a lot getting immersed in the footwork culture.
Put any nigga in check, put any nigga in check, put any nigga in check, put any nigga in check. Watch him and 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 put any nigga in check, put any nigga in check, put any nigga in check, put any nigga in check. Watch him and 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 put any nigga in check, put any nigga in check, put any nigga in check, put any nigga in check. Watch him and 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 put any nigga in check, put any nigga in check, put any nigga in check, put any nigga in check. Watch him and 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 get out the circle, 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 get out the circle.
I love
Most
that.
definitely.
Yeah, if you were gonna play that in a set, you think like when would be the time for you to drop that? Is that more like a battle track or something to play?
That's a battle track, like
sure.
literally. That's the definition of a battle track. That was my introduction into battle tracks.
Yeah.
I didn't know what battle tracks was, and I used to like lightly dance at the time, but really wasn't battling. I was just like learning.
Yeah.
So when I heard this, I was like, whoa, like this is another level. Like I don't even know what to do with this. And once I got in high school, I met other people who danced and footwork. They like gave me a bunch of music to like listen to and catch up with, and I learned about a lot of other artists like DJ Rock, DJ Solo, and a bunch of other people in the community. And man, that's what really like made me like dig deeper, because I'm like, nah, like it isn't just about like making like, I don't know, like club friendly tracks or like, you know, tracks that can fit the space that work with like a lot of other DJ sets that are like more like 4 to the 4 and maybe not so many crazy cadences and, you know, rhythms and stuff going on. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I was like, nah, I like this. This is what I like. I like doing this. Like, it really pulled me in. I don't even think DJ Rock knows that, but yeah. Rock, you did that.
Shout out to Rock. So we know that you were definitely in the scene, going to parties, going to battlegrounds, getting immersed as much as you can. When did producing start for you, or what started first, producing or DJing? Or
producing started first.
Producing started, so you were definitely just making the music before you were playing it out. Yeah,
when I got in high school, I met a gentleman named Brandon Love. He's known as Basic. Yeah, we were in high school and we lived not too far from each other, and we were in the same freshman class. So, you know, during the lunch periods, sometimes they would put on juke music and or footwork music, and they would battle in the lunchroom. So I used to walk over there, and then you know, I introduced myself, and I tried to dance, and I didn't quite know what I was doing, but Basic like embraced me. He like, okay, I see you know a little something, you know, and then we started hanging out, you know, seeing each other throughout the school, and you know, eventually he invited me over to hang out, and he showed me FL Studio, and that's when I started producing that day.
Literally that day.
Yeah, my freshman year in high school.
So start off at FL Studio, you're in the desktop, you're like knocking it out, just doing that straight for a couple years.
Yeah, we hung out every day for like a couple years in a row because once he showed me FL Studio, he didn't quite have the resources to like have like a studio environment, but I did.
Yeah.
Like my parents were a little more well off, so I had like a basement that, you know, my parents were pretty open to, so I got to invite him and other people over my house. So we used to work in my parents' basement.
So that was the spot, like
that was the spot.
The
yeah,
place was the spot.
the first spot.
Come in and like just they come together. Your guys are just like working on different tracks day in day out. I love that. How old did you say you were around that time?
13, 14.
13, so just really early. You just start producing at 13, doing that for a couple of years. When were you like, okay, I want to start DJing now, I want to pick that up and run with that?
Well, seeing that I was hanging around Brandon, eventually I joined a team called Creation.
Yeah.
And they were in the battle scene, like fully in it. And they had, you know, had experienced dancers who were connected to the dancers who were dancing before them and the people who started it.
Yeah.
So once I got in Creation, I got to go to a lot of parties where the footwork spaces, like where the DJs were actually playing footwork. So I didn't know where to go.
Yeah.
I was like a, you know, I'm not an only child, but I'm like the baby. So I'm like the last kid in the house. So I don't really have my older siblings around to like take me to do stuff. I had to like make friends and just get cool with them and then explore the city through doing that, just through my friends through high school.
I love that, yeah. So it was really just you out there on the streets, just like going to any place you can, just
Yeah.
trying to fuck with the vibes were.
Most definitely.
Yeah, so you do that long enough, you start DJing. Do you remember the first party you ever played?
The first party I ever
Like
played?
first spot, event, anything you're like, I'm in here now.
Battlegrounds.
Battlegrounds, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was
BGs. as we
BGs,
call it,
that's
yeah.
what they called it. And
Yeah.
that was the spot for like everyone to go out and battle and just get it in.
There never was a dedicated spot for footwork ever
Yeah.
until Battlegrounds. It was like the first event where you could come just to purely hear footwork music, hear the footwork DJs come and just come and play, and you can learn, battle, or just freestyle. Just come and just practice. It was a space, and
It was really like a community for all type of thing. Like you really
Yes.
just, I love that. I mean, like honestly, when you have like so little places to play that type of music to grow that scene, I love that everyone was in on like sharing it.
most
So,
definitely.
First set at BG's. Did you play a battle? Was like your first time like playing? Or you
No,
were just playing a set?
just playing a set.
Yeah.
Pretty much during like what I would like to call the free for all. Like the first 3 hours of Battlegrounds is like everybody just arriving, and you could hear one of the best DJs or up and comer. So I was just coming there just to soak up the vibes because I wasn't quite confident enough to battle or dance. But I played around, and I was there with my team. So at the time I was kind of on probation, so I couldn't battle, but I could observe, and when my team was dancing, I can go out when I had a chance to go out. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I was just a spectator fly on the wall.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. For so much of you getting started, it's just you observing and like. So it's you observing and taking the community in before you even like start producing or DJing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love
Again,
that.
like, you know, it was just me and my parents in the house, so I was a pretty like shy kid.
Yeah.
So it took me a while to open up.
But that scene was definitely one of the places where you can go and just like be free and like connect with other people who love.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that. So tell me, okay, so producing, DJing, tell me a little bit about what the scene in Chicago was like when you started DJing, sort of who was really running things and who were you really paying attention to?
It's hard to say who was running things because, again, this was kind of my introduction. So I was unaware of who was like running, who was like at the top of the culture,
Yeah,
who was
yeah.
like, you know, the most influential at the time. But I could say that all the DJs that were really a part of the footwork culture came to Battlegrounds because we finally had a dedicated space, so I got to hear everybody play there. And maybe like after a year, some people stopped making the music because, you know, adulthood, life, kids, this, that.
Yeah.
And some people continued on, and the people who continued on that I, you know, met at the space at Battlegrounds, some of them, they just really just like fully, how can I put this? There was like, at this time, footwork was like having like from what I understand it now, looking back, it had like a resurgence because it kind of died down for a lot of years because the people who were most influential in it, they were like they started when they were teens and started getting equipment in their 20s, and they were like in their later 20s as I'm a teenager. You get what I'm trying to say? So it was just now forming what we all enjoy today. It was just forming. So nobody was really on top. It was more like everybody just goes to BG's.
Yeah. Yeah, so BG's is like one of the main spots. Were there any other spots in the city, even just outside of the footwork scene, that were like really popular, or people that would show up a lot outside of like skating rinks and stuff like that?
Not at the time, no.
Yeah, it's
not
really
at the
just
time.
the
Not that
rinks
I
and
was aware
BG's.
of. It,
Yeah.
it could have been, but you know, with my age and my experience at the time, I just really didn't quite know. So I don't really have a.
Yeah, no, for
Yeah.
sure. Just definitely I'm just curious about what the scene looked like for you, and just kind of like what it was like to just be outside, going to these different parties, and just what you would hear on like a random night. And, you know, when you're starting these gigs, you know, were you just trying to just take anything you got, or were you just really interested in being at certain parties, certain types of vibes?
I didn't really look at his gigs yet, because
Yeah.
I wasn't like an official DJ. I just was still a producer or a track maker. It was what we called it if you just made tracks.
Yeah.
So I just made tracks at the time. I didn't really produce any other kind of music. So for me, when I got the chance to DJ, it was like, oh, like I'm supposed to learn this part so I can get better at it.
Yeah.
So when I started, like people heard the music I was making, they were like, who are you?
Yeah.
They're like, okay, you got some tracks. You know, come back next week and come DJ. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh, cool, yeah, I want to try it. And I was just so like excited and like needed something to do. It just worked out that way, that I just latched on and just locked in and just kept going and kept coming back.
How often would you say you'd play your tracks in your set around that time? Were you like just kind of like, you know, you said you were in the basement with your friends day in, day out. You know, on the weekends, are you taking these tracks out, trying to play them out for folks, seeing how they vibe to it?
Yeah, definitely. So in Chicago, especially in the footwork community, the DJ culture is a little different. It's like when you're playing, you can play other people's music, but that's like generally
Excuse me.
when we're like outside of the like space where we're like trying to create the thing or come together to do it as a community. Everybody plays their own music, so it was like a big thing. Like if you DJ, don't play anybody else's tracks, play your own. You're here to develop your skills.
Really? Was it? So it wasn't like a big like faux pas or anything. It was just more like you were encouraged. Would you say it was really important to be both like a beat maker, producer, and a DJ at the same time?
Yeah, definitely.
It'd be easier to get on. Like if you made your own stuff, you could play it too.
If you made your own stuff, it was a lot easier to get on because, you know, people would ask you like, oh, what was this track? What was that track? If you didn't make it, then if it was somebody else's music, they were going to go to that person, get the track, and put it in their set.
Yeah.
You know? Like, you had to make music to get respect. You had to earn it. You had to earn people's respect. You had to be a good DJ. I think that's just Chicago anyway.
For sure. I mean, definitely, you know, with regional and stuff, regional cultures, regional spaces,
Yeah.
like, I feel like with Chicago, for sure, there's such an emphasis on not only just, like, the sound, but also the skillmanship of DJing. Some of the best DJs I've heard have come out of Chicago, and you can definitely tell from jump, like, it's about being an actually good DJ, having techniques, and then having a great, like, track list to play. Of course, now learning a lot of that had to be yours. Did you feel like it was a competitive thing and sort of, like, from that
Super
angle too?
competitive.
Yeah.
Like, super
Yeah.
competitive. Sometimes, like, over competitive, where, you know, like, stuff like fights and stuff will break out, you know,
Yeah.
just because we all coming from, you know, certain communities and we're dealing with stuff, so it was like our escape. So sometimes people would bring their troubles from home to the events.
That makes sense. But I know for the most part, it was just about bringing people together.
It was about bringing,
Yeah,
it was about coming together and
I
just
feel like
doing
with
this thing
any
we love to
scene-
do, music and dance.
Yeah, I feel like with anything, like, you have a little bit of both. But I definitely, just talking to so many people who love juke and footwork, I always know there's an emphasis on just, like, this being really community music and getting people from all over to come together and just enjoy themselves.
Correct.
I love that, yeah. So, I mean, you've been DJing obviously for quite some time now, you know, traveling all over the world. I'd love to learn a little bit more about what you really enjoyed about DJing and some, like, the best gigs or, like, best places you've loved to play.
I have a lot of those, a lot of great experiences over the years, definitely.
Yeah, yeah. What are some of your favorite cities to play in?
Man. Regionally or like just
Literally anywhere.
Anywhere.
Anywhere, yeah.
Okay. I love playing Berlin. It's such an open music scene, and the events tend to like be like early in the evening to like the next day. And I just love that everybody's coming there just to, like, it don't matter who you are, they're just there to just enjoy themselves and let the music kind of take them over. So my experience in Berlin was like really cool in that kind of way, where I can go out there and then like play any kind of music and they were just with it. They like, people just accept it. They're just more receptive over there a little bit. And Berlin is one spot. I love playing LA. LA embraced me so big. LA is very instrumental in my career.
Yeah.
Shout out Brain Feeder, Flying Lotus, Daddy Kev, and you know, that whole community, the LA beat scene community, they embraced Chicago footwork so crazily. And so LA is definitely a favorite place. And I would say New York for sure.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, if you're a good DJ, you know, you come from Chicago, you come from like a city in the U.S., at some point you gotta go get your like feet wet DJing wise in New York, because New York is like, you gotta DJ. They're almost a little worse than Chicago. People will stand there and look at you.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, sometimes it happens here too. I think just when people have a hard time processing what they're hearing, and even just playing like juke and footwork here, you know, as long as I have, there's a difference now. Like, people actually dance to it here, but before they just look at you like.
Yeah.
I wonder, like, you know, where have there been any places that you played where you were surprised in the way that they responded to footwork and juke, or you didn't think they would respond to it as well as they did?
Yeah, when I played in India.
Really? Tell me about that. Set that scene. I'm really curious.
It's actually a scene out there. It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Like, it was wild. It was like, the energy was crazy. Every event I played out there was like a couple thousand people. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even like festivals. It was just like local events that happened, and India was crazy.
Yeah.
My experiences out there were like very like, wow, okay, like they embracing this music even here. The scene out there was cool. Like, I played a lot of different like club music nights and stuff like that across India, and I had some great hosts, and I had a great experience there, and it was like eye-opening for sure. I was like, wow, this music is, it can take you anywhere, really.
No, literally.
You know, it's all about just like being passionate, staying on top of it, and just, you know, allowing the people to experience it with you.
I love that. I feel like, honestly, I did not expect you to say that, but I find that the more I learn about footwork and juke, it's really like everywhere.
Yeah, it
You know
really
what I mean?
is.
Like, it's literally in places like you wouldn't expect, and it's so interesting to see the different ways that people from different cultures and background, where they don't have necessarily like super popular forms of dance music, respond to something that, like, I feel like footwork and juke is like specifically engineered to make you dance. Seeing the way that people respond to it.
Quite literally, it is.
Yeah, like, and even though it's a little faster and stuff like here, because like even performing in Houston, I find that since our culture, our sound's a little slower, it's always interesting to see the way people respond to footwork and juke, because it's kind of like the fastest of the fastest you can go. You can go obviously a little faster, but when I play, you know, I'm definitely playing at 160 the way God intended, and seeing the way that people like respond to it when they're not expecting to hear something that fast, you see them like look around a little bit, and then they actually like get into it. I love that, because it's just like, even if you're not used to like hearing music of that sound or quality, there's just something about it that really grabs people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Like, I want to get into a couple of your tracks, because we talked a little about your DJing. Let's switch to talking about your producing. I know you definitely talked about like getting started early in your career. I'd definitely love to hear a couple tracks that you want to share with us that you think are super important or really kind of like cover your sound.
Yeah, I have
We can get
a few
into
I'm
them.
gonna pull up. One track for sure, like early on, it's this track. Again, I was like a lot of soul, funk, and gospel, like a little bit of everything, played by my parents. So once I got like into production and I kind of knew what I was doing a little bit, I went back like, oh, like I have samples in my house.
Yeah.
So I started going through all these records my parents had, and some of the records one of the artists my parents used to play a lot was Anita Baker, and this track I played, it's called Anita. I sampled an Anita Baker song. I'd like to play it for y'all. It was like one of the first tracks that people was like, okay, you got something going, okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Remind me of what? Absolutely. Remind me of which Anita Baker song you sampled for this one?
You'd have to remind me. I don't remember myself.
No worries.
I personally don't remember what song, but if I like sat down and really listened to it, I probably could remember what
no
song
pressure.
it is. I just don't remember at the moment.
I'm just curious because I love when you hear samples and you can't immediately tell what song they come from, and like the chopping, the loop is just so clean.
Yeah.
I love that. When you go to sample a song, do you always have like a clear idea of what section you're trying to pull from, or is it just like you play around different parts of the song that sound good to you, sound good chopped to you?
If I'm sampling something, usually yes.
Yeah.
How my sample choices is, it's pretty simple. Like I usually go through a large collection of music and just listen until I hear something. I just put the record on and listen to it, and when something grabs my ear, I'm like, oh, I could loop that.
I love
or
that.
I could chop this up and maybe take this section in the song and like do this and add that, and
Yeah. I know you said you have, taste from all over, but do you find when you're like looking for song, or you're like just drawing the songs to sample or chop, you're mostly going for like funk, house, jazz? I notice your music's like, for me personally, a little bit on the jazzier side. It's like, I'm not explaining it, but it almost sounds like a composition in itself in the way that you use the samples.
Well, I think jazz is the thing that I did the most engaging with, especially on like when I was in school and playing in band. I played in jazz band, and I went a little far playing in jazz band because I was playing a drum set.
Yeah.
And I went to historically famous schools, Harold Washington Elementary School.
Oh my gosh.
On the south side of Chicago in Chatham neighborhood. And we had a lot of funding, so it was an art school, arts elementary school, and we did a lot of traveling and battling other bands and being in competition. So I was like a properly trained jazz musician as a kid. So when I hear other jazz music and I hear the stuff that I was learning how to play, it's like, oh, like I like this. And it's not always a conscious thing, but just like playing in band and then like getting into producing, like it clicked in that type of way where like I just resonate towards jazz like a lot more.
That definitely makes sense, especially with your background. I feel like jazz, I always say it sounds, it can be a really complicated genre to not sound complicated. Like jazz is such a good starting point because I feel like you really, music theory, composition, instrumentation, you're learning that from like bass from early on. So I feel like you can definitely hear that influence in your work. Like I said,
Thank
for
you.
me, like
I'm
sometimes
glad it does come out because it's important to, how they say, where your influence is. And I think that's important, to my story because, early in the game, in school, I started out with music, and it's a good full circle moment for me as an adult to look back and be like, wow, okay, I was doing jazz and this and that and funk, and that's why I continue with, and that's why jazz is so prevalent in my music.
I love that.
Yeah.
You want to share another track with us? Something?
Sure. Yeah. One moment. Oh yeah, that'll work.
Yeah.
This next track is called "Work That." It's a pretty important track in my discography because it's like when I hit a point in my career where like I really felt like an artist for the first time. I felt like I had all my influences. Like I don't know, like I felt like I was in a great space, and this was like in a pivotal point in my career. I'm gonna play the song "Work That." I'm sorry, y'all. That's the wrong "Work That." One moment.
He said, I got a vault in here. Got a lot going on.
Definitely, because we go back. You know what? Oh yeah, you know what? I'm gonna play. This is a track. Since we were speaking about jazz, I'm gonna play a track that, again, early in my career, kind of like defined my sound. That was like at a very pivotal point in my career. I made this around the same time I made the track that I was speaking about earlier called "Work That." This song is called "Turn Me Up." It's a Roy Ayers sample. You guys might be familiar with the song.
Yesterday, I am your mind today, and I'll be your mind. I was your mind yesterday. I am your mind today, and I'll be your mind. I was your mind yesterday. I am your mind today, and I'll be your mind. I was your mind yesterday. I am your mind today, and I'll be your mind. All of your dreams can become reality. 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 Turn me up. 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 Turn me up.
Thank y'all.
I love the way that violin comes in there right before you cut us off there. But I love that. How much do you find like when you're producing a lot, you're really just experimenting with all types of instrumentation? Is that mostly digital instrumentation you're using a lot of times? You don't ever do like live drums or anything? It's just like all on the laptop?
It depends.
Yeah.
I'm really into like analog hardware as of lately. I like to just put my hands on stuff now. So I mean, I have my eyes on some sights and some sounds and stuff, but yeah, I'm really into the analog hardware as of late, but I'll use anything, honestly. I'll use anything as long as I like it, and then just getting more experience in working with like just synthesizers and synthesis itself, like the process, and it's a whole science to that. So yeah.
No, yeah, I'm sure. No, I love that. Like, I love that, especially for like footwork producers. Y'all do not shy away from like sampling, working with anything, and I love that it allows for that much freedom and experimentation. And you can definitely hear it in the music too. I feel like it's like one of the least constrained like sounds you're gonna get. I don't hear a lot of the same samples in like a footwork song or like over the course of a night. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the times I'm not even like recognizing that, which I love too, like how deep you guys go with it. So I mean, even for this, we're hearing like funk, we're hearing R&B. You know what I mean? Are there any types of like samples you've used in the past that you think people would think were like unconventional for you, or just like just like any, or is it mostly just for you, just like literally whatever you're thinking of in that moment? Do you ever like hear a song like in passing or just something that's really big and you're like, I gotta like flip that now?
Yeah, like especially like now, because I'm pretty quick about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, generally like, yeah, it's pretty open. To be honest, like it's no like real like rules set with like, like how people should perceive you or what is a good sample to use or not to use. Yeah. Everybody's just like, is it a good track or is it not a good track? Can I dance to it, or not? And yeah, that's pretty much like, I'm not gonna say the rules, but that's just like how the culture is with the footwork thing. Like nobody's really judging each other on the samples or the genres they're borrowing from. Yeah. Because some of the pioneers, they sample some really obscure stuff like Traxman and like RP Boo, artists like that. Like their palette is even wider than mine. Them being wiser and living a little more life and just being exposed to sounds in a different kind of way in context. So yeah, I would say for sure, like we welcome any kind of sample.
I love that. Absolutely. Let's get another track in there. I'm so sorry, I keep smiling.
All right, cool. What kind of track would you like me to play?
Yeah, just one more track that you want to share from us from your vault. We can also do another one or two, but just, I know you're kind of marking where you were in your career. I'd love to hear something more recent. Just like,
y'all want something with a sample or y'all want like something original?
I mean, shoot, let's ask the crowd. What are we feeling?
All right.
I could do original, honestly. Like, I really like the sample stuff.
Okay.
I'm really interested in what it sounds like when you're just putting like, you know, fingers to
Sounds
keys.
together?
Yeah, you're just putting it up there.
Here's a more recent track from an album series I do with a colleague of mine named King AG, a series called Step Brothers. The name of this track is called Let the Bass Bang. It's pretty self-explanatory. When you hear the track, you'll hear it. Okay, cool.
Let the bass bang. 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 Bang 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 bang.
Thank you.
Yeah. What makes that track a standout one for you? Why'd you want to share that one with us?
I love bass. I think we all love bass.
Yeah.
Especially if you're into footwork music. It's very like sound system culture type music. A lot of the music we produce, we like intentionally like manipulate the sub frequencies to like make the bass come out in a certain way that's very particular to the footwork culture. So tracks like this kind of encompass the footwork like sound in general. Like literally like when I was working on this track with AG, it started off with literally, we had just made a few tracks and I was just sitting there and just like smoking a blunt, just hitting the bass like dun 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 dun. And he was like, I don't know, just record that. I was like, okay, cool. So I just recorded the bass and then I was like, what could we say? I'm like, it needs some words. Like it's too dry, it's just literal bass. And I was like, let the bass bang. He was like, yep, say it. And so I just said it and got straight to it. And then after I said let the bass bang, we both looked at each other. After we recorded it, like, oh yeah, come on. So, you know, we added some synths and some stuff and we like deleted everything we did and restarted over with the vocals and then added the bass and added the synths and then we started, you know, copying the sequences and stretching the song out and turned it into a track.
I love that. When you're like working on a track, how do you decide like, okay, this track needs vocals, this one doesn't? Is it more of a gut thing?
Yeah, you just got to know how to read the room, like being a good DJ and knowing like what type of track to play. When you're composing, whatever sounds you're experimenting with, it kind of becomes apparent like what is next, just whatever mood or energy you're in, especially the type of space you're recording in. So like if I'm just messing around with some bass, like I may be like, you know what, like I need some sounds.
Yeah.
Or a melody or something on top of this. And then after I have a melody, like if it's like not like a melody that grabs you, I'm like, maybe this needs vocals to complete this.
Yeah. That makes
sense. For
sense.
example. Yeah.
That makes sense. So it's just like pretty much trusting your gut throughout the
just
entire
trusting your
process.
gut. Just honestly sitting there in the studio and being like, what do I like? What do I want to do? Like not trying to necessarily conform to any genre or trend or this or that. Just sitting there like, I don't know. I want to make some weird experimental bass music, and I want to say, let the bass bang.
And then you do it. Like, really straightforward. I love that. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, at this point in your career, you've been doing this for so long. I guess, maybe over the course of a month or so, how many beats do you think you're cranking out, really?
As of lately, like, maybe like, I don't want to lie, maybe like 1 or 2 beats a day for sure. But when I'm like not like so busy, I make a lot of music. Probably about like 5 or 6 tracks a day.
You just good for like locking yourself in the room and just like
that's what I do.
Stuff up. Yeah.
Like honestly, outside of like taking care of my mother or like just going outside to experience things with family and friends, like I'm in the house Like I love
Working.
music. This is my life. It's not necessarily like a hobby. It's like my life. It's my lifestyle. It's like music is everything to me. So I'm always trying to. It's always something new to learn. Like whether it's not the actual production itself, it could be the technical information behind the recording process to get a better sound or quality that you're looking for. Or, so I'm never bored. It's always something to do or to learn. So I just try to remain a student and keep getting better. So that's why, like, you know,
Yeah.
I'm always like cooking up as much as I can.
I love that. You can definitely hear your love for music and your love of creating, like, in your work. You know
Thank
what I
you.
mean? Like, I feel like your music sounds very intentional.
Mhm.
I'd say, like, or I'm curious of just of the music you make, of the totality of the music you make, how much would you say in like a percentage does like everyone else get to hear? Do you have like a vault you're mostly putting stuff in? Or you
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Say like it's a good amount.
I'll say like it's like 50% now. It used to be like maybe 30%. Like I would
Yeah.
have like hundreds and hundreds of tracks just like that would never see the light of day. And maybe you would hear them if you lived in Chicago and came to any of the local footwork events because we play everything there. But you know, with sampling and this and that, you know, we can release everything. You know, just the legal aspect of it. So yeah, like probably about like 50% of the music that I produce does actually come out. And people get to hear it.
Okay, I love that. You know what I mean? So you've got that good vault going, and I guess it's just up to you whenever you want to share that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we got anything maybe coming out of the vault soon, or how are we feeling about
Well,
that?
yeah. As you said before, like I've been doing this for a minute, and
Yeah.
I think I've had many phases of my career, and just like, just doing this, like engaging with people outside of Chicago. It's like really shifted my intention and like my direction with like where I want to go with like my sound. And like as of lately, I've been working with MCs and like vocalists and other producers who work in other genres, just trying to like up my skill set. So I definitely am cooking like a full LP, and I have some cool stuff coming out. I got a video coming out in a few days with a gentleman named the GTW. He's an R&B like
I've heard
techno.
of him.
Yeah, he's a really dope artist, and I have a video dropping with him soon. And it's kind of introducing the sound that I'm working on now, like producing like more like full songs, like in juke and footwork context.
Yeah, I love that. What made it really important for you to pivot in that way? It was just like kind of like natural for you, like I've been doing this for so long, I just want to try something different, or
Being on the road and like getting an opportunity and privilege to share my music with other people in the world, like you meet so many people, and because my set is so unique, it's just luckily it's drawing so many creatives towards me. And people just generally come up to me like, yo, I enjoyed your set, like can I get your Instagram, can I get your number, your email? I need to know what this is like. Or if they do know, they just want to connect because they want to get it like, you know, a level deeper into the game and just connect. Like I meet so many artists and different people everywhere I go, and they're just genuinely just wants to connect, and we make those connections offline, you know, and get up with each other when I'm not doing shows and create. And that's how it happens. And that's how it has happened. It's still happening to this day. Pretty much just networking.
I love that. Would you say your process is like collaborative in that way? When you're working with someone, it's really important to like be in the same room with them, go to the studio.
Yeah, I like to be in the same room.
Yeah.
Because of technology and timing, and just sometimes as artists, like we may not have the money to travel far away. Like some of my friends are overseas and things, and you know, if we want to make a song, I may start on a part or they may start on a part. We send it to each other over the internet. And then, you know, when we see each other, we obviously have to work as much as possible. But yeah, I do like to be in the same room with the artist just to feel the energy. And so it isn't so much like delayed time between like, okay, I did this. Like, what do you think?
Yeah.
Just being able to bounce off of the person sitting right next to me. Like the projects that I do with AG, we only do them in person. We have to be there. We don't do sending back and forth.
Yeah.
We like made it a specific thing to get in the studio and to work together.
Yeah, I love that. I love the emphasis on that because, like you said, it's so much easier to just send the stems or the tracks back and forth.
Mhm.
I feel like it always makes an impact. I don't make music, but I feel like it would make an impact to just be able to like actually collaborate, sit next to the person, and feel it out with them.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. So you wouldn't say you're mostly in the studio when you're working. It's like just you and the laptop, and then for trusted collaborators, you're in the studio then, or you're like in a room together then.
Yeah, for the most part. Now I have an MPC Akai Key 37,
Yeah.
and an MPC X. What is it? SE.
Yeah.
So do everybody I work with pretty much in Chicago. They all are like heavy MPC heads. So I put in my files on a USB. I go over whoever's house, and my kits, my sounds, my everything's already in my USB, so it's easy to work. It's pretty like it's all streamlined, and we all using the same thing, and you know we're all like learning from each other, little tips and quirks, and or like. For example, like I'll go work with AG, but like if I want like the bass to be better, I'll go over Clint's house because he has like SSL console stuff and stuff like that. So we all just get up, collaborate, and just try to like get the best out of it we can.
Yeah, there's a lot of like community sharing of like resources between all of y'all.
Honestly, without it, it wouldn't still exist. A lot of us behind the scenes are like really spending a lot of time with each other, even people who maybe didn't get along over the years. Like it's a big resurgence, especially like in Chicago recently. The city like recognized Chicago footwork is like an important part of the arts and culture, and now we got like funding from the city, so it's cool.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's honestly so important too, and so good for the city to recognize it, because footwork and juke has just impacted the city so much. And I love that you mentioned earlier, just like even if folks aren't getting along, I feel like there's this compulsion to protect the culture and to continue to push it along that kind of takes like precedence over anything else, which you can really see in the scene. I feel like the Chicago scene is very like, especially older generations, you guys are very like close-knit in that way.
Yeah,
I can definitely tell that it does sound like you guys are in these rooms together and you're talking to each other and figuring out sounds and like vibes and just like growing together. You can definitely hear that.
Even the people who came before me, they did the same thing. They may be like, you see the DJs on the stage with each other, doing their solo sets when they come out. You hear that set, you hear that solo tracks and stuff, but a lot of these guys work together. Like, so many people in Chicago are sharing resources because everybody doesn't have $5,000 to get a this or that. So it's important,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Share resources is a big part of it, yeah.
I love that. So to get to talk a little bit more about the producing side, you're working with collaborator, you're like building out the beat yourself. You're like putting the layer in the sounds, you're getting everything together. When do you decide like, okay, this song is done?
I don't know. It's just like an instinct thing.
Like,
at some point in the creation process, you hit a point where you realize if I add something else, it's not going to be good anymore. Or it'll be like not palatable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like to enjoy it in the way that you got to the point where you're making the track and you're like, okay, I like this. Okay, no, this is a strong track. And then if you go any further than that, you're like, nah, I'm doing too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just,
You can hear it, you can feel it even, yeah.
Yeah.
So done the track's done, what makes you feel like, okay, I'm ready to release this track, like versus putting it in the vault?
It depends. Different tracks have a certain type of once you make a track and you give it to the people, it kind of takes its own life and like does stuff and it affects the people. So I usually, when I make a song, like it could have its own special significance to me, but when I like give it to the people and I'd like to decide to, usually it's based off of like me testing it out, and like in DJ gigs or like maybe at a local small gig or a battle or something, I play it just to see how it kind of affects the people, or if it's a good battle track or if it's a good context for the club, and I play it. And after a few tests, and that's usually the method, I'm like, you know what, I think people want this track, and I put it out.
Yeah, I love that. Definitely, talking to so many producers, I feel like a lot of them do just go ahead and like slip it in a set somewhere to see how it performs on the dance floor. And I feel like, footwork having such a strong dance culture, I feel like, and such a strong connection between the dancers and the community and the DJs and the promoters and the people who organize the parties and push it forward. I feel like it's like you almost have to see how the dancers respond to it before it's really...
Battle tracks, yes.
Battle tracks for sure.
Battle tracks, just mostly battle tracks.
Yeah.
Battle tracks are like, the reason why you need to test it out with the dancers is because the dance is constantly changing. And when you DJ for the footworkers, especially like the seasoned ones, you can see if they're feeling it or not. And sometimes it's not even about if it's a good track or not. They may just need something new to make new moves, because the music moves them. So if you just made like a track with like a good, like I played an Anita Baker sample earlier, like if I make another track with another Anita Baker sample, it's not that it's not a good track. They may need like a, I don't know, like a rap sample or something to be chopped up to like, find some new energy to like get in a creative space to create some new moves, because that's just how it is as a footworker. Like the music needs to be interesting. You need like all type of different contexts and different rhythms and cadences in the music to like come up with moves that, you know, continuously push you further as a dancer, you know, sharpen your skill set, being able to survive in those battles, because the people that are like the top dancers in the culture, like they're tapped in with the DJs. Like they go over to DJ's house, they watch how the tracks are made step by step. They're like students of the game on a whole nother level that most people in the culture probably wouldn't know, because like they just go to the events and they consume it there. But if you really want to be on top of your game as a footworker, you have to like make it a lifestyle choice. Like it's like a level of discipline, like where you have to go study the music. You have to study the style of DJing. You have to figure out like what DJ, you know, works well for you and your style, and then you have to like lock in and either buy that music, connect with them, and get copies of it, practice to it, because man, once that battle start, and once the track is on and you get on that floor, it's just you. It's just you and it's intense. And I've seen dancers get pulled out of the circle. You know, I've seen DJs get booed off the DJ tables. Ooh. It's intense. So, I've been there, especially early in the game. So, it's a very humbling experience, and it keeps you engaged.
No, I bet. I mean, you know, we are talking about competitive dancing. I'm so curious about the different like cultures and like etiquette within like the battle scene, and I'm really curious about what it's like to actually DJ a battle, and how different it might be for you to like
totally different
versus like DJing a party. Like, are you making faster transitions? Obviously your song choice is different, but like you're literally keeping up with like the battle in real time.
Yes. Well, let me tell you really what changes how fast you mix the tracks, how long the dancers dance. Because once you play a track, right, a dancer, you know, the track is playing, they're getting ready to dance, they go out, they start dancing, right? So maybe 20 to 30 seconds has went by. 20 to 30 seconds footworking is like a long time. Yeah. It may not seem like it, but once you've been dancing about 15 to 20 seconds, or if you're more seasoned footwork, you may go to like 30, 45 seconds, and that's a long round. That's half a footwork track. So you need another song to come in to kind of like balance out that energy, so like they don't have to keep battling over the same concept, rhythm. You know, you need to keep switching it up.
Yeah.
So it keeps the battle fresh. So everybody isn't like trying to dance to the same cadence and the same pocket, or wait for that one part of the track. And you know, once you learn the music, you know, you're kind of waiting for that part of the track. And you may or may not, depending on when you're going, you may not get that. So you have to wait. And hopefully the DJ is going to play something else that gets you hype and in the mode to like battle and like, you know, be your best self.
Are there like classics among the scene, like certain tracks that people expect to hear at every single battle? Or is there mostly?
Of course.
Like,
every dancer has their favorite in their type of battle track they like to dance to, because they practice at home to the music. Yeah. So they're like, some people may come like, oh, I want Solo to DJ, because Solo is like a really big like battle DJ. He's like really known for like making like battle. He's known for juke music too, but like he's like a real like one of the top tier like battle DJs. So a lot of dancers like Solo or like a Rock or like a myself or a King AG, you know, or a Clint, because we still love to make the battle tracks, and that's a big part of it. Yeah,
I love that. I love hearing about how collaborative the process of like creating the tracks can be with the dancers. Like I've never heard of like the dancers literally going to the studio to get the track.
No, that happens. That happens.
I love
that definitely happens. And again, it's usually those top tier dancers that link up with the DJs, because for us, we just make the music, right? That's right. Just, you know, off of our musical influences, and you know, we try to think about what would sound good, and ultimately we never really know until we get a dancer in the studio with us. And because I dance myself, sometimes I just dance to it, and if I can dance to it, they can dance to it. So that helps if you actually know how to footwork too, as a footwork producer, like learning how to dance. It keeps the inspiration like very high if you really know how to dance and you can battle. So yeah, that makes sense, honestly. And I feel like it's an entirely different experience making a footwork track or like listening to one when you can dance to it, and just all the different ways you might compose something different or literally change an instrument or like a drum or something, because you're like, I'm gonna step to it here versus there. Like I find that a lot of times when I talk to footwork and juke producers, especially footwork producers, they dance footwork as well. Like they're in the scenes and stuff like that. Like I feel like there's just a very strong connect there. Let's talk about TEKLIFE a little bit as we're like coming towards the end of our chat here. I want to talk a little bit about sort of like
what things were like for you when you joined, and sort of like where you see things going, not just with TEKLIFE, but Chicago electronic music in general.
Okay.
How old were you when you joined TEKLIFE? I think I read somewhere you were still in high school, or?
I was a sophomore in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to Battlegrounds, and I had met pretty much the bulk of the DJs in the scene because, like I said, everybody kind of was like, oh, Battlegrounds. And it kind of like word of mouth through the city. Everybody started to come up there because it was like finally a spot where you can come and play battle tracks and like solely just come there to play battle tracks. So I met Rashad and Spin one time that came up there. And mostly Rashad, because Rashad was like the one, he was like the guy. He sought talent out 24/7. He was like a real student of the game. So one night I was there and I was playing, and he came up to me like, what's your name? I'm like, oh, Earl. He like, who do you know? And I told him who I knew, and he knew who that was just because, you know, how connected he was in the scene, how tapped in. So he was like, okay. He was like, yo, you got it a little bit. Like, okay, I hear you. Man, come back next week. I'm like, word. So I knew who Rashad was, but I like didn't have a personal relationship with him. But I had heard his music and I was impressed because, like, you know, again, like he sampled a lot of jazz and funk and soul and stuff, and that's like the genres that, like, you know, hold near dear close to my heart. So the way he was flipping it, I was like, my mind was blown. Him and Spin was just like on another level to me personally, to like what I like, right? Yeah. So to my style and taste. So once Rashad told me to come back, and I was like, oh no, I'm doing something right. So that kind of, it put a battery in my back, and I came back the next week intentionally with like 20 new tracks. And I didn't DJ until he got there. I was waiting
on him. Yeah, you were waiting on flying on him.
And you know, when they did arrive, because they started coming regularly at this point, they had just played, and when he got off, he offered for me to play on him and Spin's system, because they used to bring their own system, because they didn't really like the sound that was there, so they would always come out with their own system. He's like, yo, you know how to DJ? I'm like, yeah, I know how to DJ. He like, all right, well, here's your chance. Come on. I walked up. Spin like, what's up? And I'm like, oh, my name's Earl. Rashad told me to come DJ. He like, you can DJ? I'm like,
we gonna find out.
Yeah.
We gonna see.
He's like, all right, let's see what you got. And I DJ'd, and they were somewhat impressed.
Yeah. Was that on like vinyl, CDJs?
CDJs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
they were trigger for some DJs, Serato Box at the time.
Okay.
Definitely Serato Box era was wild. But yeah, CDJs, 1000s, and SL1 box.
Oh my God, that's so crazy.
Compact Presario laptop.
I've only seen those in person. I've never played on them, so I can't even imagine. And then you're doing that in front of like two legends, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, and I'm just a kid from Chicago, Southside, so I'm just looking at them as like local legends, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they weren't quite who they are now, but they were already those people. They were already those people in that city. So yeah, I knew that once Rashad said something to me, I knew I'm like, nah, I'm onto something. So,
yeah, you in it now. Yeah, I love that. So that's your first time like up there spending with them. How long would you say between that moment?
About 6 weeks.
Before you joined?
About 6 weeks before he asked me, do I want to try out?
Okay, so you tried out. What was that like?
It was very intense. It was like 10 dudes in a room all staring at you, like 10 grown dudes just like, yeah, what you got? Yeah, I heard you trying to join the crew.
Yeah, and you're just out there like, so did you need to do a mix for them, introduce yourself? Like, walk us through what that was like.
So after the 5 or 6 weeks, Rashad saw me at Battlegrounds, and you know, at this point, it was kind of like cordial a little bit. Like, you know, he like, oh, what up, Earl? I'm like, oh, what up? You know, what's up, Rashad? You know, he like, do you go get on tonight? I'm like, yeah, I'll get on. So after I got off DJing, and he was like, you think you're ready to come home? I'm like,
oh,
what?
So casual.
I immediately said yes. I didn't hesitate. I said, yeah, of course. Like, yeah, I'm with it. Like, what do I got to do? He like, let me go holler at Spin and see what's up. So he walked over and talked to Spin. Spin looked over like, all right. So he came back and he was like, yo, all right, you got a spot. You got a spot to try out. And he was like, how we bring people in is we just meet with them like outside the party personally. And he gave me his personal information, told me to meet him over Spin house like the next day. And when I got out of school, I took the Pace bus out to the south suburbs to Spin's house. And I got there, you know, I walked in, it was Gatman, Spin, Rashad, DJ Trey, and a few others as well, some dancers, some names you may or may not know.
Yeah.
And yeah, they like made me DJ on the spot and play my tracks for the crew at the time. Everybody who was before they were TEKLIFE, it was at the time called Ghetto Technicians. So yeah, I had to try out for Ghetto Techs right then and there. I played, and they told me I was in, and they told me what I had to do from that point on. They were like, all right, okay, you made it. We decided that, you know, we want to have you be a part of the crew. You were our newest add-in, and then eventually down the line I met Manny.
Yeah.
You know, Manny already had it. He was already fully like dancing,
yeah.
making tracks. He was already the person he is today. Like he was already that person like as a teenager.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, so,
that's so real.
When I met him, he like, I like your tracks. I'm like, oh word, man, like you got it. Like I like your tracks too. So we just started hanging out, and I was a part of the crew. So he just kind of embraced me. And when you first get into Ghetto Technicians, there's like some rules. When you get in, you can't go DJ and go do gigs, and you're kind of on probation, and you gotta like go through like a process of like refining your production skills and your DJ skills. So I couldn't DJ at Battlegrounds for a while until they felt like I was at the standard that they were trying to, you know, push me up to.
Yeah, I love that. It shows such intentionality in like what they were trying to do with Technicians later TEKLIFE, which just like, I mean, and it worked because, you know, years later, decades later, we were still talking about this incredible legendary collective, but hearing like the process of what it takes to actually get in, you could tell they set standards, very strict ones very early on. And I love the idea of like, you know, you got to come here and try out and showed us that you're like, you're worthy of wearing the name or like being in the crew. What did it feel like? So when you heard back and you're just like, you got in, you're in. So
I was excited.
Like for you? Yeah.
Being in Ghetto Techs was like, I kind of knew what it meant, but other people around me who had been around Spin and Rashad and others in their collective at the time, like early in the game since they were in high school, they were like, dude, like you in Ghetto Techs now? They're like, that's a thing. Like you with them guys, like you really gotta okay.
It was a big fucking
and
deal.
everybody it was a big deal. So I got a lot of positive and negative reactions to it because a lot of people wanted to be Ghetto Techs and they were like, where did he come from? It's just this fat short kid. Like he in Ghetto Techs. Like what's up? Like I've been around for 10 plus years. I've been trying to be down with the crew. So you know, and a lot of positive reaction. People were excited for me too. So yeah, it was interesting.
I love that. So I'm sure so much has changed within the crew since then and now. What would you say would be the most surprising about like just seeing the growth of like TEKLIFE over the decades?
Well, seeing it come from Ghetto Technicians and it just being a tight-knit crew of producers and we just making the music just to make it, just for the passion of it, it wasn't really like, we didn't really have like we weren't really career-minded, I could say. Or at least that wasn't my mindset or Manny's mindset. We were just doing it just to do it. We were just young, passionate kids. Yeah. They were young adults at the time, like in their 20s. So we didn't know really what their long or short-term goals were. We just knew what instructions we had, the work we had to do, and we showed up and did it.
Yeah.
But progression over time, like seeing Ghetto Technicians transition into TEKLIFE, it was a pretty dope and amazing experience. Just seeing footwork being exposed to the world and other people consuming it and understanding it in the way that we understand it is like rewarding because like that's all we ever wanted to do was to share the music with other people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And like I'm sure it's been so surreal seeing like the reach just overseas and stuff like that.
Yeah, like every single time. It's not a time that I reach a stage, a nightclub, a small, a big, medium venue, whatever. Every single time I go out and DJ, it's like a dream come true every single time. At least for me. Like I'm very tapped into like my gifts and my talents, and like I don't take it for granted. So it's surreal for me every day.
I love that. That's so beautiful. I definitely understand that feeling. You know what I mean? To be able to travel the world just off your music and being able to share the music that you love with other people and see that they respond to it. It really is a gift. Like every time. What can we expect, I guess, for TEKLIFE moving forward? Some things we can see coming down the pipeline.
All right. Well,
you ain't got to give us too much, whatever you want to share.
Well, I do want to share something about TEKLIFE in general. I'm actually no longer a part of the TEKLIFE collective. Yeah. I left in 2020, so I haven't been a part of the company or the collective since then, but I'm still friends with the people in the collective, and I'm connected with them, and you know, maybe not all, but most. And I just did a gig in Chicago, opening for Seafood.
Yeah.
Spin and Gant was there. It was all love, so that was cool.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
You know, that was a good experience to just, you know, see them and be like, "How you doing?"
I love that.
And they just expressed, just was like, "I see you doing your thing. Keep going, bro. I love to see that." And that was like a good, rewarding experience. But being a part of the TEKLIFE as it grew as a business, I could say that I knew it was inevitable just off of the drive that we had. Like once we figured out that like we could turn it into a business, it's like the light bulb went off in our heads. We were like, oh, like we could take this and like give it to the world. Like, oh, okay, cool. Like not just only Chicago. Yeah, let's do this. And it became like the life mission. And that's kind of, we took the different themes and chants and, you know, experiences that we had, we turned it into a business. And having that business expand across the world and meet individuals like Ashes 57, who's an amazing artist, and she runs the TEKLIFE brand alongside Spin, and at the time Spin and Rashad. Yeah, it was an amazing experience. It just opened me up so much, and it helped me understand like other music besides footwork, and like the context and how I, you know, grew up in Chicago and found footwork, like, you know, my regional cultural movement, going around the world and seeing the different movements and the similarities and the differences, and just like how people connect and come together and their sense of community, and then like all of us coming together and meeting in these different stages around the world. Like it's still life changes to this day.
Absolutely, definitely.
And TEKLIFE is doing fairly well from what I observed.
Yeah.
They're still together. They're still doing things in collectives. They're playing a show tonight in Chicago. RP Wu, Spin, and Jalen.
Yeah.
Jalen is a new add to TEKLIFE. Jalen is I could say like he's like a mentee, one of the people who Manny early on embraced in his dance group that he had called Taliban, and Jalen was a part of that. And long story short, it's doing well. Manny's outside, Spin's outside, Gant's outside. Heavy, he's doing his thing out in the world.
Yeah,
and
stuff. Yeah.
I think that, you know, respectfully, like they're doing their thing and they should continue to do their thing.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about you then. What can we expect sort of moving forward? I know you talked about some projects and stuff like that, but what do you find yourself really focusing on in like this next chapter, so to speak, of your career?
Getting better.
Yeah.
Like I said, I want to put out an LP, and I want to make some music to maybe affect the people at a larger scale, because that's just where my mind is, and just growth as an artist and like an entrepreneur too. Like once you hit stages of certain scale and you meet these different creatives like celebrities, like underground people, just next level creatives, and you learn about their process and like how intricate these little things that they add in their production and their stage show, and just like, you know, merchandising, and just like learning the business and figuring out all the I'm in that stage in my career where like I'm ready to take things to the next level and put on like a bigger show where I'm not just DJing and playing tracks.
No, that's real. Like, I love the focus on like improving your production, your stage presence, and things like that. I mean, I feel like being a musician and artist is like one thing, and being an entertainer is another. A lot of times it can be as simple as just putting the table up there and the tablecloth and like, you know, the decks to get into it. But I love the focus on wanting to appeal to people sonically, visually, all the different stuff that comes together with like making a good show.
I think I'm just like this as a person.
That's fair, yeah.
It's like my actual function. Like I have to do something different. I have to keep scaling up in order to like stay engaged in like a healthy way. You know what I mean? Because we all have our like, what do we call it, writer's block, or moments where we're not feeling as creative. And it's usually just because like you need to learn something new, or like new sound kick, new sounds, new this, new that. Keyword being new.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's like totally, you know, common for so many artists, and especially doing it as long as you have. I'm sure that it comes up at some point, the drive, the urge to just like switch it up, try something different.
All the time, especially in the footwork culture, because if you become one of the like prevalent DJs who DJ the battles, and that was like my main like getting my DJ chops things together, it's a really high energy switching tracks out every 15 to 30 seconds kind of ordeal. So you get really skilled and trained in production, like stage studio kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
you DJ the battles, you go home, you make better tracks, you have a better DJ set. The dancers have a better reaction. You take that experience home, like you monetize, like it continuously to elevate the process.
Yeah, it feeds into each other.
It feeds into each other,
Just
correct.
builds
That's
on-
a
I
better
love
way of saying that, yeah.
I love that. I guess for my final question, I think we might have
All right.
some time for like Q&A too. For my final question, I'm definitely curious on what you see is in the future of footwork and juke music, just the Chicago electronic music scene in general. If you want to get bigger, just what you hope to see coming down the pipeline over the next couple years. It's been a couple decades, and to plenty more, of course, of the sound and the culture. What's most important to you to like continue and to build upon?
I hope to see more artists embracing it as like a full scale like lifestyle kind of thing, and versus just like more hobbyism where you kind of treat it like it's a thing you do, like, oh yeah, like I do footwork sometimes. Like I want more people to take it serious as an art form, and to seriously lock in, learn the dance as a form of discipline. And like once you put in the work and you see the connections and have that experience, I want people to like become a like more immersive artist and like learn more about like the business of things, of course, so you can educate yourself, so you can have these same experiences some of us are having in the culture. Because some people, they come to me all the time, they're like, man, how do you do it? Like, what made you do this? What made you do that? If I'm being honest, I'm just waking up, like learning new stuff every single day, like connecting with artists every single day that I can. Like if I'm not busy with like home life or like family or my mom and stuff like that, like I'm locked into music, and like that's the key, is taking it a little more seriously. I want to see artists today take the culture more seriously. Like even our city at the point in Chicago, Cook County is recognized, Chicago footwork is like a cultural movement that like needs to be supported and get funding now. Now we have a month of funding from the city, spaces and places to put on shows. And if you're just playing tracks, it's not that can't be an experience that's like rewarding and you can go from there, like move at your own pace. But I would like to see more people take it seriously.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, those are all my questions. I don't know if we have time for Q&A, or how are we feeling? No? Okay. Huh? One or two? Oh yeah, well let's open it to the floor for a little bit. We've got like maybe 5 minutes or so. If anybody just has a question, anything I didn't cover.
Any questions?
Okay, if not, we always want to be polite. Alrighty. Yeah?
All right,
Oh,
going. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
what's up?
So I saw you DJing yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was crazy as hell, right?
Thank you.
What made you like feel comfortable with like live, whenever you're in person DJing, like I guess like playing around with it, stuff like that, like when you know you're not gonna mess up, like how just
Practice.
practice, just throwing
Mhm.
stuff out there and doing it.
That's it, practice. But also, and we were talking a bit about this earlier, like being a producer and producing the music, it changes things for you when you're playing the tracks. It's a different experience. When you produce the tracks, you know every little second, quirk, drop, the rim shot on that count or whatever the case, you know when to play it and like how the music works well with each other. When you're practicing, you practice on your blend. So once you practice so much, it kind of becomes child's play. It's like you're really just having a conversation with your audience. You're like literally telling a story because you can talk with the music. And when you have that deep enough connection with the music that you're making, it's a performance. It's like watching an artist get up and sing a song or rap, but from a DJ perspective.
Yeah. I love that perspective.
Thank you.
actually. Any other questions? Going once? Going twice?
Actually,
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
how has new footwork artists like influenced your production, the way you go about DJing? Like, for example, Khadijah, I know you guys
Mhm.
collaborate a lot, so or work together. So I'm just curious how it influences you.
Me and Khadijah haven't worked exactly like together necessarily. I did like a remix with Khadijah and like we passed some stems back and forth. I mean, it'd be cool to do so, but I could say like people who weren't born and raised in Chicago and like immersed in the culture in its early days, like newcomers in footwork, like how it influenced my music, just to have more fun. Because some people, they don't have all the nuances and the context about battling and this and that and chance and, oh, you got to be this kind of artist. And there's really no way exactly to be. And hearing new people who take their attempt at, producing the music and immersing themselves in the culture, it kind of gives you a reminder like, oh, I got to have fun with this thing. Because sometimes it could get too serious. I know I said earlier, like, take it seriously, but what I mean by that is, like, everything isn't necessarily serious. Just, like, be more, like, intentional about the craft and, like, do more things that make sense, that resonate with yourself, so it can come out in your performances.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I think it's definitely a little bit of both. Like, obviously, go with an intention, still have fun, be willing to experiment. Yeah.
Yeah, experiment as much as possible. Because whenever I hear a new footwork act DJ, I'm like, you know what? They're right. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it tracks, and like even DJ says, like, even here you DJ, like, you playing battle tracks, like, that's like a challenging thought for a Chicago footwork DJ to come out and like not play club friendly tracks, because it's so easy to like get into those kind of blends. So when a person like plays like a dedicated like battle track set, I'm like, man, that's bold. And you snapped and did your thing, so it's inspiring. And we take that energy back to the studio, like, nah, I gotta go back to let me get back in my bag. You know, next gig, I'm gonna play that. I'm gonna play that one track I ain't want to play, but I'm gonna play it anyway. Yeah, it just helps us be a little more brave, and not put any limits on our process and continue to grow. So thank you.
Yeah. Got one more question, I think, and we can wrap up here.
All right, cool.
We do have a mix coming from DJ Earl after this, so please do not stray away too far. Yeah?
Yeah. Definitely gonna mix some tracks up for y'all.
But there's not any other questions, then we can definitely close out here. Thank you so much, DJ Earl, for your time.
Thank you for having me.
This has been...
Big ups to yourself and everybody that came out and that's involved.
Absolutely. I do want to also extend a thanks to our organizers, Break and Enter and Ice House Radio. Thank you so much for putting this together and for giving us a lovely venue to work out of. If you are interested in events like these, please follow Break and Enter and Ice House Radio on the internet.